I hit record.
Oh,
Hello, Gia.
hello, Keisha. Didn't you mean to hit record? That's what we're supposed to
I
do.
well, I had a little bit of a spasm, I think, in my finger,
Oh,
and
that'll happen. That'll
yeah,
happen. Yep.
yeah, hit record sort of without really thinking about it. But
Yeah.
we have so much to cover,
I
and I
know.
guess
I watched what did I watch? Like 5 episodes or something yesterday or so. I was like, "Oh my God, I'm still in Port Charles. I can't get out." And it was
yeah,
quite the
sure,
marathon, and then I had to
yeah,
watch 2 today, and
yeah,
um it was like a fully immersive experience of the soap
yeah,
opera.
yeah. And
But
well, before we get into it, a few things I guess we should talk about.
yeah, like sad stuff. Is that what you're
Sad,
gonna?
sad stuff, yeah, to
So
begin with.
sad. My
Yeah,
gosh.
I know.
Yeah.
Our beloved Tyler Christopher, and I think, he was universally loved as Nicholas, and
I
I
think
guess
so. I mean,
that
and everybody was still
yeah,
holding out hope that he might be able to
yeah,
return, and I don't think that was going to
yeah,
happen. But
right,
all us
right,
fans, us viewers, kept, thinking maybe this will
yeah,
be the opportunity, since he
mhm,
seems to be, back. But oh my gosh,
yeah.
how sad. How sad.
Very
And on
sad,
top
very
of
sad.
Matthew
Matthew
Perry's
Perry, yeah.
death.
That
Um
was that was brutal. It was all very, very sad because it seemed like they were similar sort of stories, they had struggled so much
yeah, they
become
both
healthy
really
and
really had some demons, personal demons,
yeah.
and sort of shown in spite of that, or as a result of that,
Mhm.
or something. I don't know. They you know, I don't know. I saw something about, I don't think it was even on a general hospital. I don't even think it was a general hospital site, but something about how Tyler Christopher was sort of condemned for his addiction problems, whereas uh, I keep wanting to say Chandler Bing. I know he's not Chandler Bing, but
I know.
that he was sort of forgiven and supported, or something
Mhm.
like that. I mean, do
Mhm.
you think that's true at all?
I don't think so. I mean, I suppose Matthew Perry did more to try to make to learn from his experience and help other people, but that doesn't mean that Tyler Christopher was a bad person. I don't think everybody has to respond to their problems the same way, and Matthew Perry, had sort of the
Mhm.
means, I think, to do more. So I don't
Yeah,
know. I
yeah,
mean,
maybe that's, yeah.
it, and if you're struggling with addiction, I mean, just helping yourself seems hard enough, So
Oh yeah, just getting through a day, through an hour,
yeah,
is
yeah. So
probably
that would
difficult. But
that would be it did seem like he was a little bit condemned, and maybe I don't know. I guess he did have some public experiences, right, where he was maybe
right, right,
disorderly or something. I don't
yeah.
know, but
A few, yeah, and apparently, I don't know, I can't remember now. He was on another soap after Hospital, right, for a
yeah,
stint,
yeah, uh-huh,
and
uh-huh.
apparently that didn't go well due to his addictive problem. I don't know. I'm just kind of
Yeah.
reading too many headlines and things, but
Uh-huh. Yeah.
anyway,
It
so
must it
sad. And
must be very, very sad. And also I think probably like when your health has ups and downs and all of that, like, it must just be a lot of stress on your heart and, your body. And it
right,
seems like that's kind of
with
what
with
happened.
both men, we don't really know. Um, I'm sure there'll be another round of huge headlines when they do all their reports and talk
Yeah.
screens and all that kind of
Mhm.
stuff.
Mhm.
And to me, it's like the sadness wouldn't be any less. It'd probably be even more if you find out that they relapsed, as opposed
Mhm.
to dying from the abuse their bodies suffered all those years.
Yeah.
And it might be
Yeah.
something completely separate. You have no idea.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
but it's a hard path, no matter
Mhm.
what. But right, yeah, they both put their bodies through so much that
Mhm.
they might have been stone cold sober, both of them,
Mhm.
uh,
Yep.
and
Yep.
died as a result of the stress on their bodies
Mhm.
or whatever.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't think any less of either man if I found out that they'd fallen again.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
uh,
It made me wonder, like, how there are, like, rockers, like, who've partied throughout their lives and still somehow are
oh, I know the
surviving, you
Rolling
know?
Stones.
Yeah.
That die
Yeah.
of at 100 of old age, and
Yeah.
the rest of them are still making albums and not and touring, and and
Yeah.
well, supposedly they all like had their blood changed out every concert or something, right? Like
Jesus.
those were the rumors.
Okay. Yeah. Wow. Well, I
And
guess
they're
whatever they
probably,
did, I guess it worked.
yeah, well, yoga. I think it's yoga. Um,
Okay. Is that what the kids are calling it these days?
yeah, no, actually, I do think Mick is a huge like health nut now, and probably has been for years.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I kind of wonder if some of those rockers probably quit partying like that 20 or 30 years ago, but just kept up the image, but
Maybe. Yeah. Yeah. They
secretly
must
they're,
have. They must
they're,
have. Yeah.
yeah, secretly they're eating their bran flakes and their,
Kale.
their kale smoothies and stuff, and working
Mhm.
out all day long. And I
Mhm.
don't know,
Yeah.
who knows,
Yeah.
but yeah, there have been plenty of people that have partied real hard and um, just seem to carry on.
Yeah.
But these two guys, admittedly, by their own admission, were that's not partying. That's
Right. That's right. It's not really partying. There's
yeah,
nothing fun about it, really.
right, right. And
Yeah.
I even like I was watching today. I kind of can't help myself. Like I was scrolling
Mhm.
by something, and it was Matthew Perry on The View talking about
Mhm.
his book, and
Mhm.
he looked bad. I even thought,
Mhm.
like, gosh, is this just from the, he looked puffy and he sounded a
Mhm.
little like
Mhm.
not slurry or something,
Mhm.
uh,
Yeah.
but he was talking about, I think it was a painkiller
Uh-huh.
that he took after some accident on a movie set or something, and that was his first.
Mhm.
And he said
Mhm.
something about, some people take a drug or whatever, and they feel a little sick, they feel bad, and he's like, and I took this, and I felt something like, instant euphoria, and this is what I've been missing, and this is like now
Uh-huh.
I'm whole, kind of a.
Uh-huh.
And I have had that experience
Yeah.
myself, and
Yeah.
thought, and that kind of scares me, because I think,
Yeah.
like,
Mhm.
okay, like you have that drink or that fourth drink or whatever, and you're like, this
Mhm.
is how I'm supposed to feel.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is what,
Uh-huh.
like I've gone through my
Uh-huh.
whole day feeling pinched and bad and wrong, and now
That's a
with this alcohol
perfect way
coursing
to
through my
describe it.
veins. Do you
Pinched
know what
and
I'm
bad
saying?
and wrong. Oh, yeah, yeah. Uh-huh. I mean,
And
it's not
then,
quite. Yeah, yeah, I get it.
yeah.
Mhm.
And so it's like, why the surprise is why we're not all addicts, you
Mhm.
know?
Mhm. Yeah,
Um, and
right.
so people that cross the line and then can't bring it back, I don't hold anything against them. My gosh.
Mhm. Yeah. I know. I know. And it
But
does.
yeah, what a shocker. And I felt bad being the one to break the Tyler Christopher to you, but
Yeah, I was
I was
still reeling from the Matthew Perry one.
I know, because Friends is like your second
Uh,
favorite show in the world, right? But
I think it's my first favorite,
is it?
honestly. I mean, I have to have it on when I go to bed. It's like my
Oh
comfort,
yeah, it's
you
kind of
know?
like your yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
and I think it's because, like, the dream is sort of to, like, wouldn't it be to live, like, around your friends, instead of having your friends live, like, at the other corner of the country? It just feels
Yeah,
like
I guess so. Yeah, yeah. That's sort
s
of,
s
I don't know,
s
but do you remember that like the old man and I when we watched the first episodes of Friends, we both like turned to each other. We're like, well, that show's not going to make it. You know.
Yeah, I resisted it at first because just the premise of these beautiful people living, in New York City, I
Right.
was like,
Right.
"Well, I
Yeah.
can't relate
Right.
to that," you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah,
And
but
I
so
liked the later seasons a lot more also,
oh
but
yeah, well, it's
yeah.
any show getting off the ground. It's hard to establish your characters without seeming
Hmm.
very awkward.
Yeah,
But
but they
anyway, don't
all
hire us to like test shows or anything because
yeah, me neither. Me
we do
neither.
not know what we're talking about.
No.
But anyway,
But
yeah, that's the sad stuff. And I had the odd sensation during the episodes, who knows what day, but when Laura was discussing Nicholas with,
oh god, that was so weird too.
yeah, and it was,
You know.
I kept relating it back to Tyler Christopher, in
Yeah.
my head, that's who I was
Yeah.
picturing, and
Uh-huh.
it was
Man,
eerie. It was kind of
it
eerie.
was. I know, and I wonder how they'll if they must have to acknowledge his passing, I would think, on General Hospital somehow, at some point they
You think
should.
so? But I
Well,
mean,
I mean,
that character's been, I mean, that
yeah.
particular version of the character's been gone for so long.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
just thinking like at the end of the show, like a card that
oh,
says
yeah, yeah,
something,
yeah.
like
Right,
not like a
right.
retrospective or anything, but
Well, they haven't dealt with
with
Bobby's,
Bobby, yeah, I know it feels
so
like it's been almost like what 6 months or something. I don't know. It's been a
yeah.
long time.
But what a set,
So,
and Billy Miller recently, and
yeah, yeah, right,
it's been
right. These
something.
young fellas, really,
Yeah, gosh.
yeah, and
But yeah,
beloved, that wasn't just like they were so like everybody loved them.
yeah, yeah, yep. It's been something. So anyway,
Yeah. Anyway,
anyway,
um, but to change directions completely, Gia,
all right.
I don't think you probably had a chance to look at our stats recently, but
No, I have not.
we've had one, I think probably just one dedicated listener in the United Arab Emirates, and they're
Oh,
like 32 downloads so far. So they're way up there,
oh.
like near Canada, you know.
Well, but you can tell that it's only one person from the.
Well, I'm just guessing.
Oh, okay. Could be
So
32 different people that tried it
it
once and
could.
then said this show is ridiculous. But
I'm thinking it's one person, and if you're in a hostage situation and someone is forcing you to listen to us, here's what I think you should do. Tell them you think this is awful and you would just like to leave like a 1-star review. And if
oh,
you
and then we'll
do,
know.
we'll
Okay.
know you're a hostage and maybe we can figure out how to help you. Okay. So from
I like
now
all of
on.
that except the part about how in the hell we'd figure out how to help anybody. God. Seems unlikely. But
I guess you're
we
right.
could pass word on about it or something, What
Yeah.
are we, We're not
Just,
Rockford, I mean.
imagine like we're calling. Who would we call? Like the
Okay, let me explain this story. Yeah, that would be funny. And
oh
actually,
god.
could I just say instead of a 1-star review, like what's the most stars? 5?
5. You think
Leave a
that
5-star review.
yeah, well, that's true too.
Yeah, well, that's unlikely.
Oh gosh. Okay,
But that's
so
cool. I love that we're touring the world here. Sort of,
yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
causes me to look these places up and check it out a
Mhm.
little bit.
Yes, I agree. Me too. I did look it up. I took a flight on Emirates airline and there was a lovely meal. So that's my only experience
Okay, all
there.
right.
Um
Yeah, that seems weird too.
I know, but it really was. It was nice and fresh and light, and didn't
Mm.
smell, like a lot of airline meals smell.
Yeah,
Why they have to serve
I don't think
fish
they
on an
have them anymore.
airplane? I don't know. It
Fish
seems
rolled in cabbage.
on an airplane with a limited amount of air.
Yeah, I mean, have you ever been that person in the workplace that like brings in
Oh,
chowder or
God.
something and heats it up in the staff room
I
microwave? Like
I haven't been that person, but I've been near that person.
near
Like,
that
what are you?
person. Yeah,
Yeah, it's like,
everybody
what are
hates
you
that person.
doing? Yeah, it's just wrong, Gia. It's
It's
wrong.
funny. It's kind of funny though. I like to be
Uh,
that person.
I
Lobster
see.
stew, you know.
Oh God.
Okay.
All
So
right.
we better. I don't know how to organize this.
Yeah, I don't either. I did take like notes because I
Wow.
did the same
All
thing
right.
you did. I watched like a bunch all in a row, and I thought
Well,
there's
and Josh
no
says
way.
if you take notes, that's a better way to commit
That's
things to
right.
memory. So
That's right. Yeah.
I think that's
So
true. I find that
mhm.
myself.
I'm a terrible note taker because I don't feel like I can take notes and listen carefully at the same time. But I
Mhm.
believe she's probably right. Um, do you want me to run through the people who are
Mm,
on the episode of October 26th?
I want you to do whatever makes your heart happy. So if you, so like you're bringing up a person and then we're gonna just say what happened to him, kind of a thing, or
Yeah, maybe,
okay,
just see if anything comes to mind.
all right,
Okay.
all
And
right,
I noticed on some episodes, there really were a lot of characters, more
yeah,
than I
they
think.
covered a lot of ground. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So on the 26th, we had Finn getting a haircut at the hospital. Do you remember that?
Okay, all right. This is going to bring up like a thing that sort of spanned a few episodes, and yeah, it has to be talked about, I guess.
Yeah, the Finn Elizabeth
Finn
romance.
Elizabeth in Vermont. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And there was
Okay.
a lot. I tried to avoid all the hospital chatter online and stuff, but I did see a couple of people were pissed at the inaccuracies surrounding the tapping of the trees and the maple syrup stuff.
Yeah, and could the tree have been any more fake? It was like one of those fake tower trees, where you're like, "Ooh, look at that tree over there." Um,
Uh,
yeah, well, and in included in that, I've never tapped trees, so I
Neither have
couldn't
I.
speak to that. But they were talking about when they went apple picking later, and they were like
Oh
something
yeah,
about
yeah.
the orchard. It's like you're not in an orchard. I don't know if you noticed, but that's
I don't think. Yeah, I don't think they're gonna find any around LA.
yeah.
But
I guess not, but they couldn't have set something up. I don't know. I found the whole Finn Elizabeth outing and the sex and the hand washing,
oh
um,
yeah, that
and
was too much.
the piss poor watercolor. Um,
Wow.
okay, they want to make Elizabeth an artist, and even back when they had her being an artist, like I guess I've
Mhm.
just been annoyed with the props department for some time.
Okay. For some time.
And it was sparked again my annoyance by the framed pictures that Nina gave as
Oh yeah, that was
presents, and even you
ridiculous.
could
Yeah.
see the back of them, like the little tabs on them, or everything. Oh,
Yeah.
like, oh, those are beautiful. She's a wealthy woman,
Right. Right.
even
Yeah.
wealthier now that she's married to Sonny, and she went to Walgreens and picked out those little like
I know.
cheap ass frames that are going to break in an hour with the little tabs on
Yeah.
the back. And
Yeah.
I
And
mean,
you
that
can
was
see that the
ridiculous.
corners aren't like perfectly mitered.
Right.
Mhm.
Mitered. Wow. You got that right out of your butt. Mitered.
I have tools.
So anyway, I felt like the cabin, okay, all right. I mean, I know they have to use shorthand, so it's like plaid. Okay, we've got a lot of plaid, and
So we must be in the woods.
yeah. But I wasn't sucked in by Finn and Elizabeth's sexual encounters, and I felt like that was the goal, was to pull me
Right.
on board with their relationship, and I found them
Mhm.
annoying,
Yeah.
and um I don't know,
Yeah.
the whole like rubby hand thing, I was like kind of grossed out by it.
I know.
um
So I was thinking, so you and your honey don't do that at home.
If somebody like comes up behind me while I'm like at the sink or whatever, I'm
To
just
get an
simply gonna
elbow.
I'm simply gonna be annoyed.
I know.
That's not really foreplay to me. I mean, I'm not gonna get into what is, but the whole wasn't it juvenile? It felt very juvenile.
Well, now you've kind of begged the question: what is foreplay in your world?
Somebody else doing the dishes, maybe, but not
Right,
not like
right.
playing handsy with the pump soap dispenser.
I
I
know,
don't
I
know.
know. Yeah, I know. I was feeling annoyed at all of that, and I'm kind of pro Elizabeth
I
Finn,
know, I
but
know.
I
They just
but
seemed
what
silly
I
and
yeah, and what I liked about them was that they seemed like maybe they were beyond all of this kind of like superficial, like fairy tale kind of romance
right,
stuff.
right.
Like they should be
Yeah.
past that because they actually know each other and they don't need to
And
go
they're both
through this.
not middle aged, but they're quite grown up and both had lots of relationships
Yeah,
and
yeah, right,
I don't
right.
know.
Uh-huh.
So
So
I
yeah.
was kind of put off by that. So okay, sorry. So
Mhm.
who'd you bring up? That was Finn getting a haircut. Yeah, that was
Yeah,
all weird, quite
yeah.
weird. Um,
That was odd.
yeah, it was an odd
And then
detail.
it was, and usually we're pro detail, but that was a funny
Yeah,
one.
and I was pro detail on a few. Like I don't. I'm sorry. You've got kind of a system, and I'm fucking with it here.
No,
But
it's no, it was just to help prompt us to like remember
look at
stuff
me
from those.
go.
Yeah, wow.
Uh, um, there were some details in, was it today? I guess it was today or maybe yesterday, that I
Okay.
loved. But the
Okay.
details that I hated were the Finn and Elizabeth Vermont trip and the
Mhm.
apples and the
Mhm.
fake tapping of, like, what was wrong with the tapping of the trees? What did they do wrong? What were people
Well, it was
saying?
the time of year for one.
Oh yeah, it's
Um
a springtime thing, right?
yeah, yeah, like
Yeah,
yeah.
if I thought about that, I would have, been
Mhm.
mad about that too.
Yeah, and then also I would like to point out if you're making an apple pie, you do need a shitload of apples because those things cook way down. So
Yeah,
anyway,
and those really didn't look like fresh orchard, like, you
no.
know, like they couldn't have gone out and bought, to like Calkins farm stand and bought a thing of Macintosh, like, well, I
Or
mean, they could have
geez,
also
Granny
talked
Smith
about,
even, yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
talk about what makes a good pie apple, because it's not
Yeah,
the same
it's
as a good eating
right,
apple.
right. You want them a little
That's the
tart,
kind of conversation I could have believed with those two.
Yeah,
Um,
right, right. Mhm.
I don't
Okay,
know.
so I'm sorry, go
Okay.
ahead. The details
So
you loved?
details I loved and sort of random stuff that I loved
Mhm.
was Lois and
And Leo?
Leo
Yeah,
and
yeah.
the math off they were having, and
Yep. Mhm, and
like,
beautiful numbers. I liked how they both talked about the beautiful numbers.
yeah, that was fantastic. And it went on
Mhm,
for a while. It wasn't just like a
mhm.
cutesy kid thing.
Yeah.
Um and they seemed like they really were having fun, and they really did have a
Mhm.
relationship, and it was fitting with the boy's personality, and I
Yep.
just loved it. It was like
Yeah.
my favorite thing of all the days, I think.
Yeah, yeah. I know that little Leo can do no wrong, and that was really a nice scene, and it's just good to see math on a soap opera.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
and
interesting.
yeah, it was interesting, and I don't know. It was Sparkle Pony for me. I was like,
I wonder if everybody listening at this point has heard your Sparkle Pony
no one, no one will go into
if
it.
they've been
They'll
introduced to
get
the
it from
concept.
context.
Yeah.
They'll get it from, yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
context.
yeah. Okay. Okay.
I think that our listeners are a particularly savvy group, and
Oh yeah, yeah. Uh-huh.
yeah, and they're sharp, and they have a great deal of humor, and we don't need to explain stuff.
No, you're right. You're right.
And they
Right.
might even be a little bit dark. They might have a little dark side, I'm
I
thinking.
think that's probably true also. Yeah, it would help them if they are because if they're not,
Macabre.
then
Yeah.
yeah, then they might we might make them uncomfortable
They
and
might find us disturbing. You know what I did? I saw a movie that was so disturbing um,
uh-huh.
with my father, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, like with
Oh.
Spencer Tracy and Ingrid
Oh.
Bergman.
Uh-huh.
Very
Uh-huh.
disturbing. I was expecting a light romp through a sort of Halloween themed movie, and it was like about
Yeah.
abuse and control, and God,
Huh.
it was
Yeah.
awful.
Yeah, that's weird, isn't it? A lot of those old movies really sort of are kind of unforgiving, with that sort of
Yeah,
psychological drama and stuff. It's kind of strange in a way that they're
yeah.
sort of scarier.
1941. It was
Yeah.
very, yeah, and it was like unrelenting, and
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Ingrid Bergman got murdered, and God, I was like, God, happy Halloween, happy frickin' Halloween. It was
I
terrible.
know. I know. I'm glad to have Halloween behind us. I don't really
Yeah,
like that whole
but not in
scene.
Port Charles. It's not
Nope,
over in
not
Port
in
Charles.
Port Charles. I can't say I was crazy about all the Halloween stuff today, but
Oh yeah,
I
today
guess it
was
had to
rough.
happen. And it's just
Yeah,
weird to see like a bunch of teenagers like planning their Halloween. I mean, I know like you don't have to be just 10 to go out, like older
yeah.
kids do, but it just seemed kind of strange to me to have
You
them
didn't you
planning.
didn't go out as a teenager trick or treating or egging
Uh
houses or toilet papering things or
no, no, I
come on,
remember.
you did too. Come on.
No, I don't think so. I mean, in college, we went out like in Boulder, there was like a big Halloween sort of like costumey thing, but it wasn't like trick or treating. It wasn't going house to house. It was just more like a parade almost through town. But
But no vandalism?
I hope not, G. I don't think so.
Mm.
I don't think
Now
so.
you're making me feel kind of crappy. Well,
Sorry. Let's get
I
past that.
remember I remember I filled up somebody's mailbox with shaving cream. Some girl I didn't like very much. That's pretty bad.
Well, I don't know. There's a lot
Uh,
worse things you could do.
yeah, I
Um,
guess so, but oh well. It's not my
but
best moment. Um
no. Well, I liked like the idea of Valentine like walking around with the kids, like
yeah,
that
yeah,
that
yeah.
would and
That was
his
good.
face, like there were so many times when they like focused on his face, like
Yeah.
and how he was reacting to something Charlotte had said, and it wasn't much of a poker face.
Yeah. Okay, well I mean I've undone your system here, but another character that
That's
was
okay.
featured a lot in the
Mhm.
past week is
Mhm.
Charlotte.
Yeah, yeah. Mhm.
Okay, what do you have to say about Charlotte and what we're
Well,
witnessing
uh
here?
I it was a great relief to me that Valentine got her to go see Kevin.
Yep.
And I think that's going to be very interesting, or it should be very interesting,
Yep.
right? If that continues, to have like another set of eyes on her. Um, and I'm starting to think maybe she's a psychopath. I don't know.
Yeah, I wanted to say that like if I'm ranking things that I kind of like caught my interest or I enjoyed or
Mhm. Mhm.
or I found believable as I'm finding Charlotte. I think Charlotte's got chops. That actress
Yeah.
is,
Yeah. Uh-huh.
yeah, because she's disturbing.
She is. She is. Yeah. And yeah, just knowing she's got Anna's keys and that Anna's on completely the wrong track, with
Yep,
who she
yep,
thinks is targeting
yeah,
her, that could be bad.
yeah. So
And
very
also Anna
disturbing.
said she's always got a gun, right? She said that to
Oh my gosh, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, you're right. Oh, I hope we're not setting up for some horrible.
I know, like if she killed
Ah,
Charlotte or
yeah. Oh my
something,
gosh.
or
Right.
anybody for that matter, if she's gonna have like,
I would so respect the soap if they went with that storyline, though.
yeah, that would be rough, wouldn't it? That
That
would
would be
be,
rough, but wouldn't
yeah,
that be
yeah,
incredible if they did that?
it would be,
Wow.
yeah, yeah. Another thing that I was thinking was could take a very dark turn was the Adam character.
Yes, that was going to be my next person to bring up because
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
And I like what they did with him because when he first came on the scene, I can't remember, but quite a long time
Mhm.
ago, they
Mhm.
brought him on as a creep.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. Mhm.
that was being nasty to Joss about the sex tape thing.
Mhm. Mhm.
Remember that? He was
Yep.
creepy.
Yep.
And then
Mhm.
they kind of dialed it back with him, but now they're
Mhm.
making him sad and pathetic but with a creep element, like you think there's going to be some kind of kidnapping thing or something,
Or
like
some
something's
sort of
gonna.
violence, I'm thinking he
Yeah,
could either,
yeah,
like, because the way, like, Joss, like, she's sort of friendly, but kinda short with him, like,
yeah,
sometimes, and
and just
especially when
keeps
Dex is
shutting the
around.
door. Yeah,
Yeah,
literally shutting the door on him.
yeah,
Um,
so it seems like that's the kinda thing that could trigger, like, a shooting, and I hate to think of a shooting at this point.
oh, I know. I mean, that's the other sad thing we didn't discuss is what's
Yeah,
happened in Maine recently. My God.
yeah, yeah,
But
or
yeah,
suicide, or he also
right.
seems like he's at the age where schizophrenia, sometimes starts
Certainly,
to
right, develops in
surface.
your late teens, early 20s kind of thing. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, so all kinds of things that could happen to him, and I think he's doing a good job, right? I mean, he's
yes,
Sonny's
yeah,
he's
yeah,
Maurice's son, and he seems like he fits right in there.
yeah. He is doing a good job. He's vaguely reminding me of that character on Numbers. Did you ever watch
Yeah,
Numbers?
I did, yeah, uh-huh.
I think it's just the hair, but
Yeah,
curly hair.
I know. I was gonna say it kinda reminds me of Leo. It's just the hair.
Yeah, it's the hair. It's the hair. Yeah. I also
But also
loved
the
that they had
big
Leo
brown
be
eyes.
Einstein.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that
yeah.
was cool too, yep, yep.
But
Um,
I like what they're doing there, and I like, Joss is very believable as a like kind but a little bit oblivious
yeah,
teenage
right.
girl or young adult woman in a
Mhm,
dorm
mhm.
who's
Yeah,
got it all going on, and this kid's gonna get obsessed with her, and possibly,
right.
I don't know, or is
Yeah,
obsessed with her. I'm not sure.
yeah, right, she's got
Um,
such a, like, sort of a full life, like,
yeah,
her
yeah,
family's all around and everything, and, we don't
yeah,
know
and
what
this
he's got parents, I guess,
he's
who
got
want him to
parents
get
that pressure
perfect
him. Yeah,
grades, yeah,
right.
so
And I knew kids like that in school who pressured them or
mhm,
whatever, and
yeah, mhm,
yeah, so it's all very believable. Um,
yeah,
so
that's
that
gonna
is interesting. So yeah,
uh-huh,
and it's so cute to think of Maurice Bernard and his son. Like you think they're hanging out in his room and stuff, and
you know,
like a
I
family
just
affair.
I know, I wonder if he dances like his dad.
I don't know. I know he does sing and play guitar, and
Uh-huh,
he's a
yeah,
multi-talented young man.
yeah, uh-huh, mhm.
Uh,
Oh, boy,
what
yeah.
was also said as I was thinking that it appeared that Maurice Bernard was the one that broke the news about Tyler
Yeah,
Christopher,
yeah, I kinda got that feeling too,
and I wondered, like, why was he the first to know? Like, were they
mhm.
close?
It seems
And
like they were. Yeah, I think they were.
and
Um,
um and I apparently, like, I don't think we knew back when he was playing Nicholas that he was
mhm,
bipolar, but
mhm.
they must have shared that information. And so I hope that doesn't throw Maurice Bernard off his game. That's got to be a
Yeah. Mhm,
crushing blow if they were close. And
mhm. Yeah.
oi
Yeah.
oi oi. Um,
Mhm. Yeah,
anyway,
it's
okay, sorry. Back to the sad things. They
that's
keep coming.
okay. Yeah, well, I mean, that I think it's kinda it's good to talk about.
Um, okay, but back to our shows. Yeah. Okay, so today was a lot of children,
A lot.
and some of your favorites had a lot of
James.
airtime, and
Oh,
I
man.
was worried
James and
about you.
Wiley going toe to toe.
James and Wiley, I know. Wow. They gave him so much time and so many lines.
Yeah.
Mm.
I don't.
It was rough.
It was rough.
They were all cute, though. They were all pretty cute.
Sure, sure.
No?
I think that's a good idea to have a Halloween party. I give Carly points for that,
Yeah, so
to
they're not out trick-or-treating,
yeah,
yeah.
keep them all sort of safe in one place. I mean, I think that
Yeah.
that would have been a good idea, growing up if
Well, they
there'd
do
been
that now with the whole trunk
yeah,
or treat
right,
thing.
right. Yeah,
Yeah,
everybody's wised up to this idea that,
right.
it's a
But
little crazy.
I guess I looking back, I'm happy that I was not part of that safe era because gosh,
Yeah,
we
we
sure
were
had
just
fun
out there.
roaming like a pack of hooligans.
I know.
Well,
Oh,
and
yeah.
I happened to be in my old stomping grounds this past week and
Right, right, uh-huh.
driving through the old neighborhoods, and I was thinking how lucky I was too, the density of the population. It was, the suburbs.
Mm, mhm.
And man, didn't we rake in the candy? And I remember people would be like, okay, they would target the best neighborhoods for candy and
Mhm.
go through neighborhoods and then drive somewhere else to another like big neighborhood and
Mhm.
they were just trying to like they'd get new pillowcases and go to another neighborhood, like
Mhm.
and I just think people that live in rural areas like the Mainers,
Yeah.
like how fun is that? You have to be driven everywhere and you know
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
were just
It's
out in the streets like house, 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 so
Mhm.
much
Mhm.
candy.
Mhm.
Um
Yeah.
it was awesome. It was awesome. And I was a kid who was not allowed candy all the rest of the year, so it was a big
Oh, boy.
freaking deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can
We just didn't
understand that.
we didn't have candy in our house, so
Huh, interesting. Yeah. Okay.
kind of Puritan upbringing. Yeah.
That explains a lot.
No
Oh.
sodas, no candy.
Yeah, we didn't have a ton of that stuff, but I guess we always had some sorta, like, desserty kinda stuff around.
Well, we had dessert.
Yeah.
Like you always you had a protein and a starch and a vegetable and then a dessert for dinner.
Mhm.
Like it was
Uh-huh.
very the balanced whatever.
Yeah. The food pyramid or
But
whatever.
yeah, that like a candy bar that would have been outlandish if somebody just opened a candy bar and ate it in the middle of the day. That would have been like the earth
Yeah.
would have opened up and swallowed somebody. That would have
Uh-huh.
shocked me in our household.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah, well, that's good. That's good, Gia.
I don't know if it is. I feel like all that denial made me like go insane when I got away from it, you know?
Yeah, maybe, but you still have more of a salty sort of a
I do, yes.
craving
I lean towards
over
that.
sugar. Yeah,
Maybe. Yeah, that might be it.
maybe. Mhm.
But anyway, okay, so Halloween today.
Okay.
Okay, the other big thing that I really want to know what you feel about what
Okay.
has happened with Nina and Michael and the big reveal
Oh, yeah,
and what
yeah,
Michael's doing and how Nina's reacting and
yeah.
like what's
Uh,
going on in your brain about that situation?
well, yeah, it's a good question. It's a fair question, and I feel like I'm even getting the point you're trying to make, and it's well
You know what
taken.
I'm gonna say about
Well, yeah, I no longer feel that Michael is doing anything constructive or
yeah.
justified. If he just wanted to like stand in the shadows and glare at Nina and just like jerk her around, by like making Wiley this like object of, it's just like that's fucked up.
Yeah, it's all gotten very twisted, hasn't it?
Yeah, and I think today, I don't know, seeing how much Wiley enjoyed being with Nina, Michael's got to be sort of rethinking his strategy, don't you think? Because it
Yeah,
seemed
I
like,
think he is. I feel like he's had to do a lot of like face acting,
yeah,
you know,
right, which
where
not
that's just
everyone
like a
can
shot
do.
of Michael. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
uh-huh,
mostly he's doing the grumpy cat,
yeah, yeah,
pissy face
uh-huh,
thing. But I
mm-hmm,
think they did show him like twisting into like possible
mm-hmm.
remorsefulness.
Yes,
Um
I thought so.
but I think it's very interesting. I like how they're playing with our emotions here. you
Mhm.
know,
Mhm.
because at first you're like, aha, gotcha, Nina, and
Right, right.
you're like, finally, Nina's going to pay for what she's done. But
Mhm.
they've twisted it. And so now it's punishing Wiley, which maybe you
Yeah.
kind of like a little bit.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
could
know.
care less about how this affects Wiley.
But it's I like how they're making Willow sort of warm up more and more to a relationship with
Right,
Nina, and so
right,
it's
yeah.
turning Michael into this just like pissy monster. Like,
Right,
it's
right, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
It's like messing with his head, and I like it.
Mhm.
I like what they've done here.
Yeah, it's making him seem as guilty in whatever way
Yeah,
as Nina
yeah.
could, and it's not playing out the way he thought it would,
No, and
obviously.
how is it going to make him look to Willow when she finds out
Yeah,
what's
I
going
know.
on?
He completely screwed up, the effect he
Yeah,
hoped the truth would have on Willow. I'm not sure
yeah,
who's gonna. Yeah, I don't know anymore what he should have done, but
right.
it's not this,
Not this exactly. This is very, very twisted, quartermainy. You
Yeah,
know,
right.
yeah, psychological torture
Mm-hmm.
of somebody
Mm-hmm.
else
Mm-hmm.
does not shine a good light on his character at all.
No, no.
And I guess I like that, like
Uh-huh.
that, is what they have to do to make the character of Michael more interesting. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
it's like the Willow's a good foil for that because she's so pure as the driven
Mm-hmm.
snow and
Mm-hmm.
innocent,
Mm-hmm.
and so
Yeah.
it's like, oh, she's married to this twisted businessman, that's
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so it's good. I'm giving him credit for this one. I'm liking what they're doing. I'm liking disliking Michael.
Yeah. Well, and it's also interesting because before he found out this truth, he had kind of come around, right? Like he was
Right,
starting to be
right,
not a douchebag. He was trying to
right.
be like a decent person and open his mind and everything, and now it's like he's really getting
Yeah,
twisted, and tied up
yeah,
with all of this like trying like he's it's a it's hard to be multidimensional. It's so
yeah.
easy. It's so much easier just to like make a judgment about someone and stick with it, you know,
Right, right.
regardless of
It's
the evidence.
it's making him like literally physically uglier, you know?
Yeah.
To
Mhm.
me, like I look at him and
Mhm.
he's like gotten ugly. I
Mhm.
mean,
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be harsh against the actor. He's a handsome man, but I mean, the contortions of his face are making him
Yeah.
ugly, and it's like his
Yeah.
inside is being reflected by his outside now.
Right,
You
right.
know,
Yeah. Yeah. And
he's got
speaking
a
of that, oh,
dark
sorry, go
black
ahead.
soul like the Grinch.
His heart is a greasy black banana
Yeah.
peel or whatever. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of unattractive people because of their insides,
Oh, I know where you're going, I think.
I know you know. Well, a
Okay, go
couple, a
ahead.
couple of people. Well, first I
Yeah.
was going to say Cyrus and his
Oh,
little like
yeah.
his little tour around town
Oh
where
my god.
everybody's like,
I was
oh,
watching all those in a row and I'm like, I am so sick of Cyrus going around to
yeah,
people. Yeah. Ugh.
with his little.
Yeah.
It's the same act with everybody, right?
Yep. Yep.
Like the
Yep.
smile and like the sort of surprise that he's not
Yeah,
being
like
welcomed.
what? Yeah.
you know,
No, yeah.
I've told you I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm different.
Yep.
Let it go. But yeah, he's such a scummy, creepy guy. Um
Yep. Yep. Yep.
and then Mason, and I had a feeling they were setting up like all these people to hate Mason and that he was going to be killed, and then it was going to be like, well, who did it? And then they sort of twisted that.
They
I was
went
kind of
there and they went away
yeah.
from that. Yeah.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
kind of glad that they surprised me a little bit with how that played out and TJ saved
Yeah, and I have to
Austin.
say I was surprised about the detail about that Mason was the kidnapper.
Yeah, I
Like,
couldn't
I didn't see that
remember.
coming.
That was good, wasn't it?
And
Yeah.
that's good. And I thought,
Mhm.
okay, they're giving TJ a bit of a meaty role
Yeah.
here, potentially, not
Yeah.
just the whole baby
Uh-huh.
thing. So I like
Right.
that.
Yeah, me too.
Um,
Hmm.
and maybe him teaming up with Austin to, kind of discuss the blackness of their souls. And
Yeah.
because Austin has taken a turn to the dark side here now.
Yeah, and was it with a when he was talking to Mason, I think, or I can't remember, but he had like a sort of a nice long speech that was all good and it was all like consistent, because sometimes he seems like three different
Right.
people at
They're
the
just,
same
right.
time,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it felt like he was finally sort of settling into like a character a bit here.
But I don't know. I guess he's not going to be not that I want him to be a thoroughly good guy, but I didn't enjoy when he was lying to Ava. I thought, just break
No,
down
I didn't
and
either.
throw in
Yeah.
with Ava and tell the truth. And
Yeah.
I don't know.
Mhm.
I don't
I was
know.
hoping for that too. I know, because yeah.
Ava,
Yeah.
of anyone on the show, can handle a little gray area.
Yeah, yeah, she can, and it would be a lot easier for her to accept that if he told
Yeah.
her rather than her figuring it out on her own.
Right. Right. So they're kind of doomed as a couple, and I had hopes for
Yeah,
them.
yeah, and she still doesn't know that Cyrus is behind everything, right?
Right. I don't think
So,
so.
yeah, because she said like she referred to their mystery boss.
Yes.
Um,
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And so that was another opportunity that he missed, where he could have told her that. I mean, that's important information for her to have, really.
Yeah, yeah,
If he's concerned about her safety, I think.
right. Like they seem to be trying to get us to think that he truly cares for her.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, uh-huh.
I don't know. We'll see
So,
what happens there.
yeah,
Another
maybe.
couple
Hmm.
that they still are proceeding with Diane and Robert, and I was just
Uh, I know
mentally
that was.
vomiting the whole
Yeah, that was very bad because it seemed like she was kind of all in, right,
yeah.
Diane? And
And he
that
thinks
was.
he looks good in a tux. I'm like, oh, come on.
I know, that was a real bummer. That was a
And then
bummer.
Anna picks him to help her move something heavy. Like, are you trying to kill him? You're trying to kill him.
Oh, I know. I was thinking when they were moving that thing, I was saying, "Gosh, it really seems like it's heavy to them." And then I was thinking,
Yeah.
it's probably empty because they're both fragile people. But then it may have
Uh,
actually had all those journals or whatever in it.
yeah, maybe it really was for. I mean, they don't fill the coffee cups, but maybe they
I
filled the
know.
cup.
It was another thing I was thinking of watching all these episodes. For some reason, they're really good at giving them actual food, but they can never fill a
Yeah,
coffee
but they
cup.
never fill. Maybe they're worried about hot liquid on. I don't know. Another prop complaint I have.
Hmm.
The bracelet. I originally thought it was a necklace, but the bracelet from Harmony that
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Nina's sporting now.
Yeah.
I don't know. I expected some sort of chunky turquoise item.
Yeah, that seems like Harmony's style, doesn't
Didn't it?
it?
Wouldn't it? Like that little
Yeah.
thing they've got. That little. It looks like something out
Yeah.
of a gumball machine or something from
Yeah.
Spencer's Gifts or
Right,
whatever.
right. Yeah. That would leave
What's
a
that little
rash or
little
something.
store like that little girl shop?
Claire's? Claire's?
Claire's. Yeah, that
Where
looked
they'll
more like a
pierce your
Claire's
ears.
item.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you get your ears pierced? What?
No, I never. Not there.
Oh,
I
okay.
can't
All
remember
right.
where, but it's funny. We're sort of giving shout outs to all these crummy mall stores.
Well, I spent a lot of time in malls as a child. I
Yeah,
don't know. I don't think Claire's existed back then, but I got my
yeah,
ears pierced at the mall.
yeah,
With the gun, you were
yeah,
like, oh
yeah.
my
Uh
god.
huh.
Yeah,
Uh huh. Yeah.
those
Mm,
good times. That was very
sure.
exciting.
Sure. Um. Oh, I wanted to. Let's see. Let me just
Yeah, we may
skim
have
over my
hashed over
notes.
a lot of
We did.
things.
We did. I wanted to give a nice round of applause to Scotty and Lucy. I
Oh yeah, they were
liked it.
fun. They were a lot
That
of
was
fun.
that was
Yeah.
like good, like pretty good solid Scotty. We haven't gotten a nice
Yeah.
dose of him lately, and he and Lucy are just great together, you know? Like
Yeah, they
I like
are.
how he
Yeah.
brings up the pen again and that
Yeah,
kind of
the
cracked
pen.
me
I
up,
know.
you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, another
But
big thing. I'm sorry, I'm like
that's okay.
randomo person.
That's okay.
We had a little development in the Eddie Main story today.
Yes, yes, we
He
did,
had a
didn't we?
memory. He had a memory.
He
So
did.
what will happen there? Dun,
Yeah.
dun,
It
dun,
did
dun, dun,
seem
dun.
to it did seem to inspire him to get back to his song. So it seems
Right, the
like
song came
Lois
back up.
is going to
Yeah.
be the muse for that
Yeah.
song, maybe.
So
Poor,
Lois and Olivia are going to have to
poor
get into a
Olivia.
cat fight over Eddie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that with all the nails, I am afraid Lois might win.
The nails, yeah.
um,
Her clothing has gotten weirder and weirder. Was she like
it's
that back in the day?
I feel like it was more cohesive, like more, you know,
Like the
probably like
big
leather
sweater off
and
the
stuff.
shoulder today was so weird and
And wasn't there like a glittery top underneath the
yeah.
sweater? There's
Yeah,
then
yeah.
like a yeah, I don't know what's happening. It's
Yeah. So not they
real.
weren't good looks. I mean, I know they want her to be kind of funky, but
It seems more like, you know, she just put on whatever was in the lost and found.
yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
a little more bag lady than
Yeah.
like va 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 voom kind of a. But
Yeah.
speaking of being able to pull off an outfit, Diane's pantsuit was like
Mm,
just
mhm.
spot on. I was like,
Mhm.
if
Yeah.
I put that on, it would just I don't know, something about her posture. I don't know how she
Yeah.
pulls these off, but and it was like just like the hair and the color of the pantsuit and everything, it was like
Mhm.
fall perfect, you know. It was
Mhm.
just
Mhm.
I'm like wowed by Diane. I want to be Diane when I grow up, but
Yeah, imagine
not
us
gonna happen.
standing next to Diane. Would be
I
like a
know. I
weird,
don't
like,
know. It would be weird. She would. I don't know. She would
uh,
pity us. I think
aliens
most
looking
people
down
do.
on our planet would be like, how could those three all
Be
be
the
members of the
same
same
thing.
species?
Right. Right. I
I mean,
know. I
those
know.
two, sure, they're the members of some species, but that one woman, that's that's a superior being.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. I think she is.
Yeah, she is. Bless her
Anyway, well,
heart. Good for her.
did we cover kind of the big stuff that you wanted to cover? I don't want to, you know.
No, we
Mm,
covered a
mm,
lot. Yeah, we covered a
okay.
lot, Gia. Yeah, I think, you know, there was still like there was a lot of like sort of good, sort of small things I think going on, like
Yeah, I
seeing,
think so too. Yeah.
you know, I like seeing Carly and Ava being like
I like that so
friends.
much too. Why do we like
Yeah.
that so much?
I guess because I feel like they both need a friend for one, and they're both like formidable people, and somehow I feel like, you know, they would go to bat for each other at this point, and I like that feeling. And I
Mm.
guess also overcoming, you know, the adversity, and it would be I don't know if I could forgive Ava for what she did to Morgan, you know. And if I think about that, then, you know, I do have a problem with Ava, but I choose not to think about it
Yeah, you
anymore.
just shut
You
that
know?
right out. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
I don't know.
yeah.
There's just so many strong. There are some really strong female characters on this show,
Hmm.
and
Hmm. Yeah, and they're just yeah. I like the strength. I like that they both know who Sunny is. They both had their like good times, bad times. You know, done bad things, and
I've had my share.
yeah, yeah. Led Zeppelin. Let's think about Led Zeppelin.
I have been on such a Robert Plant kick, like our whole drive.
I Yeah, I know
Uh,
you love the Robert Plant. I do
well,
know
I've
that.
been collecting quite a few post Led Zeppelin Robert
Yeah,
Plant.
yeah.
What an
Well, I was gonna,
interesting dude.
yeah, and I was gonna say, you have to respect him more even maybe than
I like that you're
Aerosmith.
admitting that.
Well, I'm thinking like in comparison, let's say to the Rolling Stones, Led Zeppelin. I know Led
Now
Zeppelin's not.
I'm less liking what I'm hearing.
I know this is risky and controversial, and maybe this will be the end of our friendship. Who knows? But
Okay.
have you heard any of the new Rolling Stones?
I have not. Not
There's
not.
only there's only one song that's been getting airplay on the stations that I listen to. It's called Angry, and I think it's
I'm
terrible.
shocked that you're getting any songs on the stations you listen to. Like I can't fathom that what station you've got on.
I have like a multitude of different styles of
Okay.
music on the radio, but anyway,
Yeah.
it's not that good, and it does seem like a strong argument for a mandatory retirement age for rock stars. But then I was thinking about Led Zeppelin and like their like last album that they did as a group, which I know is decades ago now, but it seemed
Yeah.
like they had kind of evolved and sort of changed with the times, and this like new Rolling Stone stuff seems like it's just like sort of a retread of older stuff, and you'd think like guys in their 70s or whatever would have sort of like a different
A
message,
different
or
take.
you know
Yeah.
what I mean? Yeah, and I think there's a lot of bands actually that haven't been able to evolve, like even U2. I'm not sure has come up with anything, more
Fresh. Yeah.
interesting.
Well, that's what
Yeah,
I like about Robert Plant stuff is like
yeah, yeah,
what a
yeah.
huge, he just
Uh-huh.
seems interested in everything,
Yeah, he's obviously a
uh,
music fan, and I think that
yeah,
makes a
yeah.
big difference. Yeah. So anyway,
Um, anyway, okay. Well, that's an interesting little dissertation you just delivered there on
this is, this is
the
what
state
happens
of
when,
the old rock and rollers,
yeah, I'm putting together my thesis
All right,
about,
all right.
yeah, have to support
Maybe
my
you can
argument.
you study with Adam. Maybe he could help you.
Maybe, yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Well, I'll try to check something out from the new Stones and
yeah.
get
Okay,
back to you. Okay.
okay, sounds good, Gia. All right,
All
yeah. I
right.
guess
Well,
there's other stuff we could cover, but I think we covered a lot of
we
stuff.
covered the big chunks, so
Yeah, probably. Yeah, the
we could
broad
we
strokes
yeah, yeah.
approach. And
Okay.
it was a whole week we had to cover. We
Yeah.
apologize for being gone so long.
Yeah. I was out of town, but thanks everybody for listening and
Yes, thank you
we'll
very
keep up
much.
now and
Hmm.
and we'll I don't know. I don't know. We'll watch for the either 1-star or 5-star reviews and probably be like making 911 calls or something and they'll be like, "Oh my god, I don't know." Because now that we
Yeah,
put that out there, now we're going to have to pay attention. Wow.
we'll pay attention if we get a cry for help from our
Yeah.
United Arab Emirates listener.
Yeah. That they're being tortured with our podcast. Yeah.
Yeah, we apologize. We didn't plan to be weaponized, but I guess it was inevitable.
It could happen. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, Keisha, whatever your name is, try to stay warm up there and snuggle on the dogs, and
Yeah.
we'll
Okay.
we'll
Thanks, Gia.
catch up in a
Welcome
few
home.
days. Thank you
Yep.
very much.
Okay. Hello
All right,
to
see ya.
Jessa. Goodbye.
Oh, okay, yeah, bye.
Bye.